And we are here with another Disney Discussions, and this time it's actually Megan's pick.
Hello.
So we span the wheel of destiny, and I lost. So Megan got her choice, which is...
Lady and the Tramp and Fox and the Hound.
like a dog sort of
dog
centric
theme.
one. Dog theme. And normally you would host, because it's your pick, but you said that you don't want to host.
This is true.
Because you hate the listeners.
Yeah, I hate everyone and everything. No. I'm just very, very tired and I don't have the brain capacity to do it at the moment. So
You've been doing
I am
a lot of
passing it on
theatre.
to Mike.
A lot of theatre stuff, which is, you know...
A lot of job, a lot of theatre stuff. The musical is soon. So I'm basically doing 2 jobs at the moment.
Yeah,
so.
last night you were out late doing theatre and, you know,
Yes.
all that kind of stuff. And that's dancing
Fun.
singing and all that stuff. So, you know, at Monthly M&M we'll talk about theatre at some point. So become Patreon supporters of us. But, so I'm hosting. Megan's passed the baton to me. So these 2 films, Megan, we'll start with you. So you've turned me into the host and I'm just going to barrage you with questions. So why did you choose Fox and the Hound and Lady and the Tramp?
Fox and the Hound I haven't seen in a very long time. I don't actually remember the last time I watched Fox and the Hound. It must have been
2 days ago?
Aside from when we watched it 2 days ago, it must have been when I was really, really young. I must have been like a proper kid. And then I love dogs, so I feel like that's just enough cause.
So that was the thing that made you... Well, you were thinking about Camp Rock 1 and 2, and then
I
you
was thinking about Camp Rock 1 and 2. Camp Ron.
District 10. Camp Ron.
Camp
Ron.
I thought you were saying Camp Ron.
No.
And I went straight to Harry Potter.
There's loads of Rons. Loads of Rons.
No, not Camp Ron, nor Camp Ron. I was going to watch Camp Rock 1 and 2, but after High School Musical, I did not want to make people watch that. I was
You want to give Dan a break?
I was being nice.
And now that we've had Dan's pick, you're like, maybe not. Maybe not.
maybe there will be revenge after Condor Man.
Even though we liked Condor Man more than anyone else seems to have. I think Andy watched it, and so did Jack.
I
and
don't
they
recall
were
hating it.
No, we were just like, this is quite crap.
I've seen worse films.
Dave Horrocks was saying he's tempted now. He's tempted.
I think Dave, you should definitely come on. You should make Chris watch it. I think that'd be, but don't give him any context because he doesn't listen to the pod. So you can just be like, "There's a film. It's a bit indie, but people said it's really good," and just see what Chris thinks.
There we go. Let's put the trailer on. That'll sell it to you.
Yeah. But also, speaking of fucking prawns, we were on Spider Dan's podcast recently, District 9. We spoke about that. So I want to do the quick plug throw in for that.
Oh, thank you very much.
Time for the plugs at the end, but nice little reference. So you chose Fox and the Hound and Lady and the Tramp because you like dogs.
I love dogs, and Willow is Lady.
That is true. That is true. Which of the 2 would you like to start with? I will ask the other 2 questions, but I want to know, what did you want to start with?
I will go for Fox and the Hound because that's the one that we watched first.
Okay, easy peasy. So, let's go with Rhea. Fox and the Hound. When you watched it,
don't make me do the
nobody
synopsis,
wants to talk
please.
today.
No, I'm
Nobody
not
wants to
synopsis.
talk.
No, I'm
Okay, good.
I'm not Dan.
Please.
I'm not Dan. I don't make people do synopsis. What I do is cobble together synopsis in like bits and pieces as I go.
That's because whenever we've done it with Dan before, you were really shit at it.
Yeah, I
you
know.
just ran.
I'm terrible. I'm terrible.
To be fair, when we did Book of Life, that was a particularly hard film.
Yeah, you guys were like, oh, it's so easy. And then you guys were actually there. There are about 5 subplots that all interweave.
It is fucking easy, mate.
Well, let's not get there. This is the podcast we did on the Clone Wars of Book of Life and Coco. Rhea, Fox the Hound. When did you remember like watching this and stuff, and what your kind of memories of it before we decided to watch it again?
So definitely as a kid. So as a kid, I had a friend called Denise, and her mum loved Disney and loved dogs. I'm sure you would have got on very well.
Am I Denise?
Wait, who am I?
Am I Denise?
So anything Disney and dogs, anything Disney, I used to watch at her house mostly because her mum would always get the VHS out as soon as like it was available. So that was definitely the first time I watched this. It was not a staple in my house. It wasn't one of our regular Disney films, and even when I was a bit older, it wasn't one that I would necessarily come back to, but I think of it fondly. It recently came into my life as a audiobook for my daughter. She loves the audiobook of this. And I have to say, I don't really know why. It's not hugely entertaining.
There's not that much dialogue in the film itself.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it is really well narrated, though. I will say the audiobook is still really short. It's like 20 minutes, maybe not even that, and really well narrated. But so I could probably tell you a lot of this film without having rewatched it. You'd probably be
you
like,
didn't want to do the
this is
synopsis.
exactly what happens. Yeah, but that's because I don't like to do synopsises, do I? Because we all know how that ends up.
A great barrel of fun.
It's
Amazing.
the entire podcast is me explaining a film.
Oh, good stuff. Okay, well then, I was going to ask you, Megan, because Dan was taking a drink then. So I've realised I didn't ask you that question, and then I'll go
I
to
can
Dan.
stop taking a drink.
No, too
Do you
late.
want me to give a synopsis?
No,
Is that
I
what
don't
you're
want
asking me
to.
to do?
I don't want to do synopsi.
So-
I have.
There's a fox and there's a hound, and they're mates, and then they grow up and they're not allowed to be mates anymore.
There you
And
go, Romeo and Juliet.
then one thinks, then the dog thinks that the fox kicked a giant dog off a train track and murdered him, and then hates him. But it turns out they're still friends, and there's a love bit between two foxes. Done.
Nice, brilliant, and it's from 1981. Fantastic. I was going to say the reason I'm cutting off Dan straight back to Megan is because.
You
Even
hate
though I
Dan?
asked you, no, yeah, but no. It was actually because I
Don't
didn't ask
blame
you
you.
that question, which is I asked you why you chose these films, but what's your earliest memory of Fox and the Hound?
Well, I kind of answered it within my question, no? When I was a kid.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, since then, have you watched? I know you said you hadn't watched it.
Fox and the Hound, I don't know if I watched it that much. I feel like I did, but there was a lot of this film that I didn't remember. So, but I mean, again, that's not unusual for me. So,
You have to watch it 5 times to remember it.
I feel like this is a film that I used to watch a lot when I was young, much like, oh my God, Hunchback of Notre Dame. I used to watch a lot when I was young. I don't know. Yeah, I must have watched it with my brother.
Okay, that's cool.
I
Sorry,
remember watching it in Italian, I think, actually.
was it more fun? I mean, part of the film's already in Italian.
Be the same.
Oh wait, no, that's Lady
No,
and the
that's
Tramp.
Lady
isn't
and
it?
the Tramp.
That's Lady and the Tramp.
What's the title in Italian?
Of Fox and the Hound. I'll have a look.
Oh,
To the internet.
But Dan, what was your first sort of memories and experience of Fox and the Hound before doing the pod?
I remember us watching it as children in our house. Again, I think it was when the VHSs were kind of coming out quite thick and fast, and it was not one of our favourites because I think it is quite dark, quite gloomy, and quite sad. Like it's quite tragic, really. There's not very like moments of real levity and fun, and you know, even the friendship, it's like they play for like 5 minutes and then they're like, we're friends forever. You know, it's
But
literally
you've
that
obviously
quick.
never met any children because that is what happens.
I know. But in the film, I
And
thought
drunk
in the
people
film,
out as well.
True.
Drunk
true.
people in toilets.
Women in toilets, yeah.
yeah, sure. But
what's-
yeah,
So-
for me, it was like I thought it was going to be like a montage. Like throughout the years, we would see them playing, but it was
Oh.
literally like, oh, this is like the space of a day that they've played. But yeah, I remember the old lady and the leaving of Todd in the forest. I remember that, and I remember a lot of people talking about that again and again. I remember the general conceit of it, but not necessarily how it ended. And I've forgotten a few of the characters and things, but yeah, we watched it when we were young. But yeah, it wasn't one that stuck with me or was one of our favourites, or that we went to rewatch again and again.
Fox and the Hound in Italian.
A Fox and the Hound in Italian is nuts. So it's called
Please.
Red e Toby, Nemici Amici, which means Red and Toby, enemy friends.
That
Even
I
the names of
prefer
the
that
characters.
title.
Beautiful. Love
Aren't
it.
Red or Toby.
Red and Toby, enemy friends.
Love it. Go for it.
Wow, there's enemy friends.
Frenemies. That's what I'd call it nowadays. If we
Well,
get a remake.
that's a film, isn't it, with Zach Galifianakis and Will Ferrell, I think.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Everyone-
Sorry,
everyone's
Dan.
stealing ideas from me. That
I know, in the
they've
future
already.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
But this film, I'd say my memory is, I think similar. I think Fox and the Hound, it's a weird one because I think everyone's kind of seen it and everyone loosely knows kind of what the premise is, but no one really remembers the details except Rhea, of course. But like, aside from having to like have a child who's obsessed with it or a version of it, generally I think most people are like, I've seen it maybe a couple of times as a kid, but I don't really remember it. And I remember the first half quite a lot. And then when it got to the second half, like the jail stuff, when it was in the jail and there's the definitely not a prostitute dog singing.
Wait, whoa.
You're
You're
talking
going on to
about-
Lady and the Tramp.
See, this is what I mean. The two films merged together for me.
They're not at all similar.
Why'd
I
you
would-
choose
I
them
would-
then? They're both dogs.
They're both dogs, but
They're
the
both-
premise of the
I-
film is not the same.
I think Mike's right. I think they are quite similar in a lot of ways. It's
Lies.
kind of it's a class thing. It's two characters from different side of the track sort of thing. And also, they both feature a dog who gets injured, which originally plotted in the story, they were both supposed to die. So there are some similarities. This could have
They
been a
both
Clone
have a
Wars.
caterpillar.
There you go.
Yeah,
Both
and the animation, I remember, because one's like I remember seeing that after I watched.
Megan,
the
we could have
second
done
film.
this on my podcast. We could have
Clone Wars.
We could have.
I
done
thought
a
you
Clone
chose them,
Wars.
and both of them got poor dog training, haven't they?
Mike, I chose them because they had dogs in them. I told you, I haven't seen The Fox and the Hound in a really long time.
No, but I'm saying-
What the fuck am I supposed to remember that's got a goddamn caterpillar in it? What the hell?
I'm adding. Oh, see, this is what happens. Someone else points out examples, and I get moaned at. I didn't.
You're the problem, Mike. You're the problem.
I know. I got two films that are quite similar confused, and I'm getting yelled at.
Yeah, that bit in The Fox and the Hound is there's the prostitute
Sorry.
dog.
Right.
Sorry, Megan. I shouldn't have defended Mike. In
Yeah, that was-
Correct, thank you.
But they've also
Sorry.
both got bad pet ownership, because in The Fox and the Hound, it's just like, oh, we've got a puppy, let's just leave it outside with the bigger dog that's never met it before. Goodbye. And then in Lady and the Tramp, it's like, oh, beautiful little lady. Literally, you've only just got her. The next morning, have a saucer of coffee and a donut for breakfast.
we don't
And
know
you're
if
like,
it could
It's
be
not
tea.
the next morning. It's also not the next morning.
Yeah, it's months after.
It's a next morning.
It's not. It's months after.
But
six
No,
months.
no,
ago.
6
clarify-
months after.
But clarify,
months after.
to clarify, guys, that wasn't the first time she had it, was it? They acted like it was all it was a normal thing. It was in routine. So there's no proof it wasn't the next day.
Who the fuck
So
do you
I
think
say
you are?
it was the next day. And in any
Also-
case, caffeine's toxic to dogs, no matter how old they are.
Who the fuck do you think you are? You called Peg a prostitute. She's not a prostitute. Thank you very much.
She's an
In
amazing
fact, the
character.
whole song is about how Tramp gets to get his dick out and
Yeah.
go around
Promiscuous.
romancing all the ladies.
I hated that.
She's
song.
not a prostitute, Mike. So assumptions were made there, weren't they?
They were made.
They
yes.
like to call him Assumption Mike.
No one calls me that.
I do.
No, I concede. Yeah, I did. The thing is, when I remember her, like the thing is,
Right, what,
a lot of
are
her
we talking
dialogue.
about Fox and the Hound? Or are we talking
Right,
about
we should go, let's go back to the Fox.
Oh,
Let's go
no.
back to Fox and the Hound.
Oh no! There you go, Megan. Back to Fox and the Hound.
What do you want me to say about the Fox and the Hound? It's a film. It happened.
Did you actually like it? On
Oh, yeah,
rewatch?
no, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It's short, but it still feels quite long.
Nothing happened.
Yeah.
And like we were saying that it feels a lot older than what it actually is. Like I was
Yes,
surprised that
yes.
it came out in 1981. Like it felt very Bambi, like a lot older. And then you like look at Lady and the Tramp and it came out in 1955 and it feels like newer.
Yeah.
Like even though it's nearly 30 years
it's
older.
pacier. It's
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
pacier.
But they both feel older. They both have the Bambi sort of vibe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of whimsical music playing with zero sound effects while watching an animal bound around doing stuff. It
Yeah.
happens like quite a lot in these films, and I was like, "Oh, this is cute." And then you watch it, and you're like, "Has anything happened?" Or have I just been watching a dog play in a puddle for like 10 minutes?
Also, another reason for comparison: both films feature animals with speech impediments as well.
Yeah, what is? I've got a note here, which is what is up with old comedies in air quotes having a character, and they're like, "How do we show this character stupid? Let's just give them a stutter." And it's like, but those two things are not the same thing. If you have a
Yeah.
stutter, that has nothing to do with your intelligence. I don't understand where that came from.
I read on the
Olden
IMDb,
times, Mike.
Yeah,
Olden times.
closed minds, and I'm sure we'll get into closed minds when we get to Lady and the Tramp. But yeah, like I think that's it. I read the IMDb. Disney actually got complaints from I think it was a stammering group or society because they were like, "Please stop this. It's not good.
Yeah.
Please don't do this." I can kind of understand where it comes from because they want their characters to be as unique as possible and visually and audibly interesting or different from each other. So I can understand and I can get where the actors that idea would come from. But again, I think given that it was the early 80s, I think times had moved on from something like Lady and the Tramp.
But I would say with the voice acting though, I found that there's so many. It sounded to me, if you hadn't told me, to say Fox and the Hound was basically a spiritual sequel to Lady and the Tramp, and it was almost the same cast, because I was like, everyone in both of these films sounds like with older Disney films, there's only about 8 different voices. There's normally 3 women voices and 5 male voices, and and they're all, in this one, you've got Chief and, I think Chief is in Chief is in, oh my god.
What, are
Here
you
we go.
broken?
Yeah, it's the
confusing.
Bloodhound
Yeah, so you're
in Lady
thinking-
and the Tramp is like Chief in The Fox
Yeah.
and the Hound.
Yeah,
they
so
have almost the same
Trusty.
voice. They've
Yeah.
got like the southern old manny kind of voice. But then there's also a beaver that also sounds like them, but just goes "Sss" all the time. And I'm like, what is
Disney
it?
reuse a lot of their actors, a lot of their voice actors. They keep coming back.
But these were 30 years apart, so I don't think they were. Because I looked it up. I don't think there's any same people. I think they all just sound...
No, but I don't mean specifically from these films.
Right,
I just mean in general. You'll hear the like Chief's voice. I've heard 100 times in Disney films.
Well, same with anime. Anime voice dubs.
Exactly. It's not. I'm not saying directly, from both films, but they have a kind of a rolling cast that they'll go, oh, he'll be good for this, he'll be good for that, she'll be good for this, and they just keep kind of going because they know that they can deliver, as opposed to taking a risk on somebody new. They're going, well, we know this person knows how to voice act, so let's get them in, which is kind of how I got most of my jobs. I didn't like to audition, guys. I didn't like to do it. If I could avoid it, I would. But yeah, I think you'll hear a lot of kind of similar style of voices and characters, and even the animation of the we talked about reused animation, reused characters before. You will see that as well. I think even the dogs from Lady and the Tramp turn up in Oliver and Company, I think, years later as well. So like a little cameo sort of thing. So it happens. And at this point, I was reading that Don Bluth and his entire team of animators
I read this.
left. So he went on to do all of the films he would and be kind of a rival to Disney. And hopefully we can do that on my podcast at some point in the future, talk about his work. And that's why I think the consistency of the animation in this is not quite as good. Like some real like crisp, sharp lines on some of the characters. But then when I go to Todd and him and his designs, he seems really like faded or like there's a real difference when it comes to certain characters being animated in different ways, probably animated by different people as well, probably.
So very much animated by different people. I believe there was, I can't remember, I should get the Wikipedia page up in front of me. There was a change in animators halfway through, so a bunch of them were asked to leave, I guess is probably the politest way of saying it. Wow. And were like literally kicked, or I think a lot of them resigned as well due to a change of management. And they were literally then kicked off the lot, as in like literally like, you have to go now, grab what you can and leave. And we've got a bunch of new and like, as in like really fresh green animators in who'd never done this sort of thing before, who didn't have the right experience. And I think everything they did then had to be checked by sort of like consultants, basically. So that's why you can really tell in a lot of the scenes that it's not as polished, it's not as well done as the ones that are done by sort of like the older, more experienced animators.
Yeah, 100%.
And Dan, did you like it on this watch, Fox and the Hound?
It's a tricky one because I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's actively a bad Disney film. Like it's not one where I'm like, oh, pulling my hair out or what hair I have left. And it's not bad. I think the story is good. It works. It plays on that kind of, again, the Romeo and Juliet, two houses both alike in dignity sort of thing. And it's not bad. It does that aspect of the story very well. I think you can see them grow apart and the difference and things changing. And I don't think it was bad. It's just I think there is something lacking. Like it starts with no music. And that told me something about the film, that it's not going to be this kind of upbeat, kind of like wacky, fun adventure. It's going to be a little bit more somber. And again, this was produced by our friend Ron Miller when we did all those kind of Disney films, the dark, disturbing ones that are not on Disney. Yeah. This was being produced by him at this point. So you can kind of see his input in there and what the kind of stories he wants to tell. And I think this is kind of a riskier Disney film. Like the subject matter is kind of about sort of prejudice and different people and how you navigate that and how you change as you grow and some really interesting ideas. But and I like the darkness and the kind of gloominess of it. But yeah, again, it's not one that I don't know. I think maybe there was some talk early on that it might have a slightly darker ending or a more somber ending, probably.
Well, the book did. I think. Is this the one based on the book, or is it the other one?
I think this one was based on a book,
but they changed basically everything about it.
Yeah, and I think I think Lady and the Tramp was somewhat of an original idea. I think there was like a part of an idea from another book or a short story, and then kind of they made it.
It's Romeo and Juliet. Yes, we all know Shakespeare. Yes.
Yeah, we all know Shakespeare. I actually saw my friend Sarah, who's been on the podcast, in Romeo and Juliet this weekend, and she was
amazing.
Nice.
Very, very good. So it fit into the theming of the weekend for me when I was watching them. But yeah, I don't think it's bad. I just don't think it's great. I think it's somewhere in the middle for me. And
what about you, Rhea, considering you've heard the plot a billion times? Is this worse than the audio? Better? And also, have you seen the second one as well? I should have asked Dan, but
I've never seen the second one. No,
okay.
No. Never.
I
didn't know there was
so many sequels to do.
I didn't know there was a second.
Please don't bring the sequels.
2007, the
There's
sequel
also a
came
Lady
out.
and the Tramp sequel as well.
I've seen that.
No, that's
the Lady and the Tramp sequel.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
That's
That
what you
came
keep
out
mixed up again.
because they're so fucking similar, and we watched them quite quick
I
succession.
really don't think they are similar.
No, I disagree. I don't agree
I
with
enjoyed
that.
them both equally
Yeah.
in a way of that I didn't really enjoy either of them.
I think the themes are similar.
And there's
And
an
again,
animated dog, and it's the same sort of length. And the music's very similar, except there's just loads of
not similar.
there's just loads of harmonica in the Fox and the Hound, and it's awful. I hated the music in both of these films. Whenever someone was singing, whenever it was just like kind of in betweeny stuff, it was okay. But I thought
there was a lot of like talky singing,
which I hated. I really didn't like that because we watched it with subtitles.
Wait, in Fox and the Hound?
Yeah, a lot of talky singing, like
Mama, what's her face?
Big Mama.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but sorry, Rhea. With this rewatch, what do you think? How do you?
It's fine, isn't it? It's just fine. Like, it's all right to be Megan. It's all right, isn't it? Like, it's cute. It's cute when they're little and they're playing, and then when they're older, I'm like a bit more bored because they're not as cute. I like the darkness of it. I just think you either have to go hardcore or not do it at all.
Yeah.
And I think, funny enough, I think that it works better in the audiobook because it's quite short compared to a full length film. But yeah, and it's kind of like you get to the animation of the bear, and that's really rough. Like that's not visually pleasing at all. And I just I find that quite off-putting to what could be like a really good story about found family. My favourite, guys. How many minutes in are we? Talking about found family already, and we get sort of like the adoption of Todd. I hate that she calls him. He's just like a little toddler, and then calls him Todd. Hate that.
Well, Todd's the name for a male fox, and then Vixen. So the two foxes are called what you call a male and female fox.
Absolutely hate it. I'm not here for it.
It sucks.
So it irrationally irritates me, and I have to listen to the audiobook a lot, so it irritates me. But I like the darkness. I like the sort of when Todd gets put in the game reserve or whatever, that it's not immediately he finds people, he finds Vixen. But, I sort of wish there was that. I wish it was like a bit Ugly Duckling style. I wish it wasn't like a love story, but I get it. And I sort of like the irrational anger between all the characters. And although it's so funny watching it this time, I was like, clearly the woman and the fella, I can't remember their names.
Amos and
Madam
Widow Tweed.
That's it. I was going to say Madam Tweed.
They have clearly fucked in the past, haven't they?
Yeah.
That is why they're not getting on.
There's
Loved it.
A lot of frustration there.
Absolutely loved it. I was
definitely into foot stuff. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I was like, oh wow. That is the real one for the parents. We know what's happened here. We know why they're not friends. I like the commentary on hunting. I believe hunting should be banned. And it's nice that even however many years ago they were still, I couldn't do the maths. They were, there's that sort of message in there, but none of it's strong enough. I just don't think any of it's strong or powerful enough or well written out enough or well thought out enough or, the animation backs it up. It's like a poor man's Ghibli, right? Because we've got environmentalism, we've got family, we've got finding yourself, all of this sort of stuff, natural world, don't kill animals type of stuff in there, but none of it really comes to fruition. And I think about, like, why does my kid like it? Is it just because it is literally about a cute dog and a cute fox? And I'm like, can we not then do something with it? And it's all just fine. It's just fine.
I remembered there being more stuff to do with the fox hunting. Because I remembered there, obviously I remembered it clearly incorrectly, but I thought there were I remembered the chase, but I remembered there being more dogs going after the fox. I
thought that as well.
I thought there was a really big scene where they went out and actively went to hunt, but that obviously didn't happen. So I don't know what I'm getting that mixed up.
I thought that.
I have a memory of something animated that has it's like a fox hunt.
Watership Down? Does it have anything like that in that?
I mean, I won't watch Watership Down, so
no.
I haven't seen it.
Absolutely horrific.
Put it on DVD down there.
If you've not
put it on this Easter.
Nightmares.
Put it on this.
The thing is, it's a film I know I need to watch, but I know its contents, so it's just going to make me
again
sad.
Another thing that you need to do.
Get ready for married life.
I'm a film buff. I like film.
Really? I didn't know you like films.
I want to watch films.
Shut up, Michael.
I was thinking about, it made me think of The Rescuers. Now, we all enjoy The Rescuers, and that is very dark. And I think this is kind of a halfway house.
Mm-hmm.
It wants to have the cute, sweet, oh look, and they're pairing up, and he's not a lot of casual sexism in this as well. I noticed it was just I was like, no need for that, but there is, but yeah, it's almost too sweet and sentimental, but also it's racism and, you're different and you've got to know that you're different. And I was surprised that Big Mama gave that speech, because I thought she'd be one to be I just thought she'd be the one to go, don't worry, you'll be friends forever and all this sort of stuff. I thought she'd console him. She went, no, he's a dog, you're a fox.
She's not giving him those empty promises, Dan.
Yeah, maybe. I thought maybe she'd do it in a bit more of a sensitive way. I don't know. I guess she did it in song, so that's kind of sensitive.
That makes it sensitive.
Really softens the blow.
Proper softens the blow. But yeah, it's kind of it's not quite where I would want it to be. It's not quite as risky as I would like it to be, but it's challenging some ideas, and and again, I think the characters are they are multi-dimensional to a degree, but I think the story overall just doesn't know quite what to do with any of them. It kind of is do we have this darker end? Do we push it to the end, or do we do this, or do we do that? I think the bear is kind of like again, another halfway house of them going, well, we can't have the dog kill the fox, and we can't have the fox kill the dog, so let's have them kind of save each other, and then just kind of...
It's a bit of a cop-out, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. It's
I would say with me, with this film, is I found... So, two positive points was the animation when she drives Todd away, really good. It's the classic Disney where they've got paintings on glass, essentially, and they've got the 5 panels, and they move them away, and they angle the camera slightly, so it adds depth. When she's driving away, it looks amazing, and it's one of the...
When she's driving away from him?
Well, when she's driving to drop him off. And you first see
she's about to abandon
and he's in that, and is that horrible, boring song that's sad but just crap and has no feeling to it at all.
She's talking about her memories, Mike.
It's every song in Fox and the Hound is awful. The singing ones are they're either mid or they're really painfully slow.
And they're mostly all written by different people as well, so you would think one of them would be good.
Well, this film was written by 9 people. It says at the start, written by. And I'm but there's no script. How did 9 people write this? I feel like the problem is...
films are more than just dialogue. There would have been actions in the script.
No, I know, but think about films that are now modern films. They normally have, a couple of writers, maybe a few if it's a big Marvel-y thing, but generally speaking, most films have a couple of writers, maybe 1 to 3. This has 9. It's 83 minutes long. 10 minutes of that is credits, and half of it, I just...
Again, it might be the again the
stage direction.
reshuffling, reshuffling
that's a good point.
of Disney and stuff. But again, I don't think this helped this film.
No. But
animation-wise or anything else. But
I think the animation's cool in parts. I like when I wrote Fox Bad Face is scary. That's my note. Because when the fox is like growling at the dog, the way it looks is really unnerving, and then the bear shows and saves everyone. But I feel like this film
saves everyone.
Well, the bear does.
Bear doesn't save everyone.
The bear.
And Marie Antoinette survived.
Right. The bear comes in, and because of the bear, everyone all makes up and is happy. The bear's the catalyst for a happy ending. That is what happens.
Film.
The bear inadvertently saves everyone when he's trying to kill everyone. So I stand by that statement.
Right. Okay.
But.
He's the hero. He's the hero. He solves the racism.
The bear comes in and he makes everyone band together, cop out boring, and then everyone's fine. But the problem I have with this is I feel like it's simultaneously got too many characters and not enough characters. And the thing is it feels like every character almost has the same amount of screen time, even if they're completely inconsequential. And everything with the birds.
I hate the birds. I hate the birds.
Boring and unnecessary.
So irritating.
The stuttering bird and the tiny one.
Right, the one that's going after the caterpillar.
Also, job is to go against the caterpillar and then interrupt Big Mama constantly.
Also, how long does that fucking caterpillar survive?
Oh, right.
Also, I don't think the period for a caterpillar turning into a butterfly is over a year.
It's amazing. Friends of ours literally hatch them. They go into
they did.
Yeah, they go into the cocoon for I think a few weeks, maybe 2 months. I think most. A year.
I mean, we should all reread The Hungry Caterpillar and find out.
Oh, what
is it 7 days?
What a banger.
Well, that's how long he eats for, and then he goes in the cocoon. I can't remember. I used to know that book off by heart. Fuck my life. But I've clearly blanked it out from my memory.
Caterpillars cocoon for usually 2 to 4 weeks.
There you go.
Yeah, that caterpillar would be long.
Disney, bullshit. Cancel Disney. Cancel. Kathleen Kennedy, you're ruining Disney. You're ruining the Fox and the Hound. Even though you didn't work for them 40 years ago, you're ruining it now.
It's funny because I was trying to see how long like caterpillars.
2 to 5 weeks.
No, it says most no known species of butterfly ages to grow past a year. Yeah, most have a lifespan of a few weeks.
Yeah, but we're not talking about the butterfly. We're talking about the caterpillar.
No, I know, but it's basically
the same.
Certain other things can live for like 10 months.
I mean, it's just like watching a David Attenborough production, this is.
Well, another one says an average butterfly can live for about 4 months. So it's basically, the only reason I looked up was because I was like, I'm certain that caterpillars and butterflies don't live more than a year.
Yeah, we all figured that.
Yeah, but we established that when you told us that they were in a cocoon for 2 to 4 weeks.
Well, I didn't know. You know, they might be in a cocoon and they might live for 8 months on either side of it. They don't. But they could have done. Who knows? But
they go nice and slow.
there was. I found this film was a bit of a slog. I hadn't seen it in ages, and I'm like, I know what happened. Is kind of what's happening with Rio, which is we won't watch it, and then we'll have kids and stuff, and let's watch. It'll be years down the line. It'll be remember Fox not being too bad.
This is definitely
we'll pop it on for a nice little cute film.
This is definitely not the Kurt Russell film I would watch.
I think it's the only animated Disney film he's done. It was his 10th Disney movie.
Like, I'm watching Escape from New York. I'm watching The Thing. I'm not going back to watch this for his 3 lines in the.
He did it all film. In 1 or 2 sessions, and he recorded them.
Who needs 2 sessions for that?
I think it might have been
5 lines.
He was Copper, and also
main character.
And also the funny thing is that he recorded it 3 years before the film came out.
What?
He recorded it in 1978 on when he was on set for I think it was
Escape from New
York, and I think they say it was on set. It was the same time, or it was around that time period or something like that. But you're just like, wow, that's.
I mean, it takes a while to animate, doesn't it? So they need to get the voices and match it up and everything. So,
but do you think all the new people came in because I think they went through the Disney Academy or whatever? Do you think all the people resigned who were working on it, and new people came in and were like, what the fuck? Why have you left us with this shit as our first job?
To prove yourself.
Guys. Yeah. Making a hit.
It's quite interesting that he did it because Kurt Russell is trying to shed his Disney because he was a Disney kid. All the Disney kids are I want to do something gritty and sexy and rough and sweary. They want to kind of shed that persona and that image. So it's interesting that he's simultaneously trying to shed the image, but also going, I'll do the animated thing though. I'll do that. I'll do the sweet little dog with the frowny, wrinkly face. I'll do that.
Well,
He's so cute.
I've written down on my notes, and I was thinking about something else when I wrote it, because I've written it apart. The film plods along, there's a caterpillar bird subplot and dialogue, etc. Makes me think of Barbie. Now, it doesn't in any way, but I was thinking about us watching Barbie when I was writing these notes. So I wrote a note thinking this film makes me think of something else, while I was just thinking about Barbie.
I feel like I'd much rather watch Barbie.
Infinitely so.
I also
Infinitely.
like your note that is Todd is male fox, Vixen is female.
I've already given that fact. Thank you.
It's the specific note.
Cracking trivia. Trivia.
As not just, hey, when you listen to podcasts with me in it, you don't just have a bit of fun, you learn something too, don't you?
I'll be honest. I thought Megan's trivia was much more interesting about Italian enemy friends.
Italian. Well, do you want to hear what Lady and the Tramp is in Italian?
Yeah, please.
It does.
Is that your segue?
It does translate
That's
to
it.
Lady and the
Right,
Tramp.
guys, on to Lady and the Tramp. If you had any thoughts on Fox and the Hound, cut off.
Oh, no,
To
it's
section
only 'cause
two.
it came
I'm
up.
joking, my love. It's a pretty good segue.
She's running the show, Mike.
She is.
From now on,
Apparently,
and after the marriage,
even though she
as
said
well.
that she doesn't want to host.
I just don't want to do the talking bits. Like
That's what a podcast is, my love.
Well, that's why I don't say that I'm a podcaster.
That's like 99% of what this is.
I don't want to
I'm just here for the chats.
That is talking.
Casual chats.
I just
want to sit in on the chat.
Anyway, Lady and the Tramp in Italian is Lily e Vagabondo.
Ooh.
So Lily and the Vagabond.
So she's called Lily.
Well, no, Lily is what it translates to as lady.
I thought Donna was Lady.
Donna is lady as well. Let me double check word
I
reference.
was going to say, because, like, well, I guess Donna, it would be woman, wouldn't it? So
Donna is a woman.
Stop calling women prostitutes, Mike, please.
I'm going to get to that.
Prostituto.
But just on Fox and the Hound,
Oh, yes.
like first
Go on.
ever incel, kept on calling them females,
We
which
thought
is
that,
like
didn't we, with
proper
Amos?
incel
What I said.
language.
That's what I said. Yeah, what do you say? Like empty-headed female or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. When he said some pretty horrible things. But then also, Todd said, yeah, because Todd was saying horrible things to Vixen, and then immediately, like, I'm mad at you. Here's a crap little song about love. We're okay now, and never mention it again. And you're like,
If you
you're
stand
really
together-
horrible to her.
If you just share personal space, that means all of the problems go away. That's it.
Yeah, we
That's-
hate that, by the way, guys, just so you know.
Yeah,
It's called stalking, leave us alone.
Also, if I've even made Megan mad, and we're getting married, in a few weeks, but like, if I've made her mad, I know the last thing she wants me to do is nuzzle my face into her neck. She's like, get away from me, I need time.
Mike, most of your arguments start here when you're sat next to her and
I've
you
already
touch her
already
arm.
moved away
Yeah.
from him in this
Good.
podcast
Good.
because his arm was touching me.
There you go.
Can't
Now you
help
know.
it, doesn't
Now
it?
you know.
Find out about space in frame.
It makes me seem so horrible. Like I just
Don't
I
touch me.
I also no one can see how actually like confined this little space
Yeah.
that we're in is. Like
It is. I've been there. It's tight. It's a
I
tight space.
can't turn around without like knocking into the bookshelf. So when Mike is literally touching me, it's too much. I need some
I don't know how that feels because I live in a giant house.
I don't know how that feels because I don't have a significant other. I live alone. Can you tell? With these lovely grey walls and the Sentinel and Magneto helmet behind me.
I've got nerdy stuff behind me. I've got a Jar Jar Binks head up there.
That's all right.
Seven.
But she knew this coming in. She knew this coming.
That is
well,
true.
not the Jar Jar Binks.
That was bought for
That was
me.
only new in the past couple of years.
Yeah, that was bought. She was already. Well, actually,
that arrived since we got the house.
so that's when you knew you've got it. You've got a contract that like.
Gotta hide the crazy and then reveal it all at once. That's
No,
what you
this
do.
is crazy. This is all. I mean, I've got tattoos of Star Wars. So she knew that
I'm
from
not.
the start.
I'm not saying you're crazy, Mike. I just mean in general, like
Oh,
the
you're talking
weird.
about
Hide
Megan.
the weird.
Oh, don't say
hide
that
the
about
weird.
Megan.
Hide the. You've got to hide the weird from Megan.
He's
You've gotta hide
calling
the
you weird. He's
yeah,
saying
Willy Wonka weird.
Willy Wonka weird.
City of the W.
No, Mike's the weird one.
Oh, yeah. I'm normal. Everyone else is weird. I
There's
do
no such thing as
normal
normal.
things. I do everything normally. The way everyone else acts is eccentric. and weird.
Maybe you guys are the Fox and the Hound and the Lady and Tramp equivalent. You're so different, but you still come together.
Look at Megan's
call her a
glorious
tramp.
hair. It is like Lady's beautiful
Yeah.
ears, isn't it?
It is.
We do.
Me? Well, that's why we and Willow at the New Forest show got second place rosettes for the dog that looks most like the owner.
Oh.
Lovely. I mean, dude, I'd be like,
To be fair, we were
What was-
also
what was-
wearing matching jackets.
What was the, What was the other award? Was it most beautiful bitch or something?
I have entered her into that category so many fucking
Prettiest
times,
bitch.
and she never has won it. And she's goddamn beautiful. I do not understand any of those judges that have not allowed my dog to win that prize, because she is stunning. Absolutely stunning.
She's a beautiful girl, but it's because the problem is it's always big dogs that win, isn't it?
It is always big dogs.
Mike, can you clarify for us what bitch means in regards to dogs, please?
Female. It's a female bitch.
There we
Female
go.
bitch.
So,
female dog.
A female bitch.
Yes. It's a derogatory term unless you're referring to a dog, which is what I do when I
You
talk to
stop
Willow.
being such a female bitch.
I just don't want. I don't. I just wanted to make sure the audience knew, so I'm not being offensive.
Yes. I mean, you are, but yes, no.
I am not always.
Always learning. But I tell you
It's
what.
actually me just entering the competition. I'm not even entering Willow. I'm entering myself into
It's like,
prettiest
I
bitch.
am the best.
I am the
female
prettiest bitch.
I want to say
That is confidence. I love that confidence.
Yeah, but if I call you a bitch, you get mad. So I don't ever call her a bitch, to clarify. That would be...
Do you see Ria's face drop then?
I've never... She's called me...
You are in trouble.
She has called me so many things, but I've never called her a bitch.
That's not true. You have called it to me as a joke, but regardless,
as a
joke, not as anything.
No, never done that. That's not my jam.
We'll talk later, Megan. We'll talk later.
I think it's I who needs to talk. I get
You need
called
to
everything.
vent. If you need to vent, I am also a feminist. So.
I'm the victim. I'm the victim.
You're the victim. Oh, typical straight white male being the victim, isn't he? Oh.
Such a gaslighter.
She calls me a dickhead all the time.
It's because you are, mate. Don't act like one.
There it is. And this is I'm gonna defend myself, and in defending myself, this is immediately gonna get a retort that's gonna be worse than the original assumption of Peg being a prostitute.
Here we go.
So I looked it up, and it says Peg's personality is described as a flirtatious female character. Okay, and also
female bitch.
the majority of things that she says in the film is about her fancying Tramp. Now I know that those things doesn't make a woman a prostitute. To clarify.
I must
But the stereotype of what she has portrayed, both Megan and
I must admit, I also thought that she was of a promiscuous nature to that extent.
But so is Tramp. So is Tramp.
No, I agree.
Still doesn't mean a sex worker. Maybe you two should reflect on that and do some work and educate yourselves about sex work.
I've dated someone who was in
nothing wrong with
sex
sex
work,
work.
so I think I've done enough education.
So yeah, you
thank
should know better, Mike.
Yeah, I know.
Shouldn't you?
But
Yeah.
here's the thing, though, to both of you. Here's a little thing. When I said it,
digging
you
the
two
hole.
both immediately knew exactly who I was talking about, which goes to show you have your own biases, because if you
Because
didn't
you said
concede
the
that...
prostitute in the jail cell.
Yeah, and you assumed her gender. What if I was talking about the male?
Shut up.
What if I was
Mike.
talking about Tramp?
Oh, shut
Hey?
up.
Hey?
Michael, shut up.
I mean-
you know what mediocre white men do, right? When they're caught short, is they try and
Whataboutisms?
turn it onto other people and do whataboutisms. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I know. I did
good luck,
clarify before I said this. This is going to make me seem worse than before.
Yeah,
So
so maybe
I knew
just don't
exactly
say
where
it.
this was going. I knew where it was going. I just thought I'd say...
Right, that's it. You're not on the
Sometimes there's a
podcast
time and
anymore.
space for you to
You're not
be
in the
quiet,
wedding
isn't there?
anymore.
Your podcast is now called Genuine Megmat.
Do you want to do all the editing and the social media then?
I'll hire
But-
someone.
Megan, you do. Megan, unfortunately, you do need to do some talking.
Yeah, you are literally the host.
I will just sing.
There you go. That's
Beautiful.
Talk sing
I'll
like they
talk
do
sing
in,
like the bird.
yeah,
the bird.
Do it.
Good old
Oh,
Big Mama.
actually, I did want to say I hate talk singing as well, Mike. I forgot to mention it when you said it. It drives me bonkers. It's why I hate Les Mis. Everybody is sad around here, but I am going to
How
war or
very dare
something, and I
you.
have a flag. I hate Les Mis because they
There's only
sing
flags
talk.
in certain bits of that.
I don't necessarily hate talk singing, but I don't like musicals when there's not like a break from the song.
Ah, get out of here, everyone. Get out of here.
I agree with you.
I need a bit of because I don't know, like if I go like if someone asks me what's my favorite song in Hamilton, I can't tell you, even though I know it's good and I like it, but I couldn't tell you. Oh, the one where the
Eliza's song.
that
King one. The one where the king
where-
spits a lot.
You know the one where they're singing and Hamilton's on stage. That one. You know, I struggle with that. Also, I
Dialogue.
also need a breather. I need a break. I need a That's me. But that's
Well, I mean, Camp Rock, they do have dialogue breaks, so you're in for a
Thank-
right treat next year. When
that means I'm gonna love it.
It does. I mean, I want to clarify. I'm in the same camp. I hate it when it's
Same Camp Rock.
There we go. I hate it in musicals where it's like every single line is sung, because then you get all these in-betweeny songs that are shit, that are just exposition, and also you can't hear the dialogue as well because there's loud music playing over them talking.
And
So
sometimes they don't
really
even
like,
rhyme.
Yeah,
And that annoys me as well.
I really like Les
The
Mis.
songs
I
don't
went
have
and
to
saw
rhyme.
it. I really
Poems
like
don't
Les
have to
Mis,
rhyme, but I kind of
to clarify,
kind of think.
and I liked Hamilton, but they're the only two that I've seen. Anything else, it just drives me
For
mad.
what? Sorry, Les Mis and Hamilton.
I like Les Mis and Hamilton. We saw Les Mis. We've seen it several
I
times.
refused to show you the movie.
With Russell
I
Crowe.
outright refused to show you the movie.
And I enjoyed it a lot, but there were points, especially when we were in the interval, where I had to say, okay, I know
Mike
loosely
did have
what's
to.
happening
Mike
with
had
these
to
characters.
get a debrief. I've seen Les Mis so many times. I love Les Mis.
All these films just assume I know
You can
everything
love
about
it. You
history.
can love it. I just really dislike it.
Do you
But I'm
like-
okay
do you
for
like-
you loving it.
Yeah.
My bestest friend in the whole entire world loves it, and I wouldn't
love
take
Les
that
Mis.
away from her.
I used to go to the gym and listen to Les Mis.
Oh my god.
That get you pumped, Les Mis.
Yeah. Do you hear the people sing?
Do you want to know something, Megan? I have sung that on the stage of the Blackpool Grand Theatre.
That's cool.
Ooh,
I will be
that is
singing
cool.
it. I will be singing part of that song at the Bury Theatre, which is attached to a
Yay.
school.
Have I seen the musical? No. Did I research it at all? No. Did I wear red? No.
What colour did you wear? Black.
I just found a fucking coat and just we called it a day. But then one of the guys came up to me and was like, "Why didn't you wear red?" And I went, "Red."
It's the blood of angry men, Dan.
And I was like, oh, okay. I was also Fagin in that show, but yeah, that was part of my kind of.
From Oliver.
I know who Fagin is, but I know that he's not in Les Mis. That's why I made the face. I was like,
He's
I've
also
seen
not.
it. I
He's
think
also
a
not a
cameo.
prostitute, Mike. He's also not a prostitute, just so you know.
He is pretty. Well, actually, I mean, I have no issues with.
He's a bit
sex workers
paedophilic. It's a bit paedophilic.
I want to clarify. I didn't say that woman was a
time.
prostitute in a derogatory way, because I actually have no issues with sex work or prostitution, and it's legal in the UK, and I'm an advocate for that. So, just,
Let's go.
move
Let's
on.
go. Lady and the Tramp. Yay!
Yeah,
Why'd you
Lady
choose
and the
it?
Tramp. Why did I choose it?
Did you like
Because
it?
my dog is Lady. She's so bloody cute. When you see Lady as an actual puppy in this, I was like, I was like, ooh, it's Willow. Look when she was so tiny. She was so little. They looked exactly because Willow's ears have like gotten lighter over the years. They used to be darker like Lady's. But I was like, oh, she looks so much like tiny little baby.
But the puppy
Willow.
scenes are so short. Like
The puppy scene, yeah,
I think
it
when you
does.
guys
It
said
does go
I was
straight
like, oh
into
yeah,
adult.
there's loads of puppy stuff. There's like, yeah, 5 minutes gone. You're like, what?
Also, like, training a puppy's not that easy. They're like, go in the basket. Go
Well,
in the
they don't-
basket.
they don't
Oh no,
succeed.
come and sleep with us then. And I'm like, okay.
Also knew the command basket, and then he was like yelling at it the first night. He's like, oh yeah, she's probably alone. It's like, yeah, you've just taken her from her family. You've just dumped her downstairs in the biggest house ever.
Also, all of those dogs just literally roam around the streets. Like,
I was going to
Hilarious,
say.
isn't it?
there's no
Absolutely hilarious.
cause
It's
for
fine, they've
them.
got a license.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thanks.
When we saw the Scotty dog, Mike was like, "Oh, what one's that one?" I was like, "Well, I think you said one breed," and I was like, "Well, he's not going to be that."
He
I was
looks like a schnauzer.
Yeah, you said Schnauzer. I was like, well, he's not a Schnauzer. He's going to be a Scottish Terrier. And Mike was like, why? And I was like, because his accent is Scottish. He
hadn't spoken.
He hadn't spoken at that point. I was like, he is Scottish.
His name is Jock, and they put him in tartan.
Yeah.
Of course, he's a Scottish Terrier.
Yeah.
We'll get into all the stereotyping, I'm sure.
Stereotyping.
So,
In a
okay,
Disney film.
just for that, my grandma did have a Scottish Terrier who looked exactly like him, also called Jock. And she did put a Scottish
That's
coat
cute.
on him and collar, and she was Scottish. So, you know, Scots have only got
Fair
themselves to blame.
Jesus.
I read
Well,
on
and
the.
there's that Scotty dog in Edinburgh, isn't there?
I think there's more than one Scotty dog in Edinburgh.
No. There's a there's a statue. You're meant to touch it. It's meant to bring you
Monopoly.
good luck. No, not Monopoly.
You were so outraged by that. You didn't know what to do with yourself. You got yourself stuck in a loop without realising the joke. And you just... You're right. You were so angry so quickly.
Well, it's because I always want to play Monopoly and you never want to play it with me. And you suggested Monopoly.
Two people sucks.
Because it's going to end in an argument.
It does.
That's literally what's going to happen.
I don't mind Monopoly.
Almost every conversation ends in an argument.
Bobby.
That's it.
Greyfriars Bobby.
Yeah.
Cool. So
it's a famous Scottish dog.
Yeah. So are we going to talk more about stereotypes, or are we going to say what we liked about the film first?
Go positive first. Always
Megan.
positive.
I mean, I don't dislike this film. Again, it's shorter, so that's yay
Did
for me.
you prefer it to Fox and the Hound?
Yeah, I think so. I preferred it to. I also
about
watched
7 minutes more.
I also watched this film more when I was younger. I've always loved dogs, so I loved this film growing up. I did watch it a lot. When the opening credits started, I started singing along to the Bella Notte song, and then Mike was like, "How do you know this?" And I was like, "It's famous. Everyone knows it." And I thought it was.
Megan looked it up. I'll prove it to you. Look how famous it is. Oh, it was
so famous.
I thought it was like an actual famous song. It is for Lady and the Tramp. But the problem is that Mike will say he's never heard a song before when he's actually heard it 1,000,000 times. Like, he said that he'd never heard Old Lang Syne and also Sweet Caroline.
I never said I'd never heard them.
No, that's not true. Anyway, we're not getting into this
You
debate
always
again.
do this. Every podcast, you go, he doesn't know what this is. Like, actually, I did. You go, no, we don't want to hear about that. It's like, okay. Just perpetuating this myth.
Don't hear that side of the argument.
Yeah, perpetuating the myth that I've never heard Old Lang Syne or Sweet Caroline, which is not what happened. What happened is these songs have played around me. No one's told me what they're called. So when people go, oh, you know Old Lang Syne, I went, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
That's not true. I will clarify this story now. We were in Malta and they started playing Sweet Caroline. Me and the two people that were with us, so it was me, Mike, and two others. Me and the two others started like
bum buying,
because obviously it's Sweet Caroline, and Mike was like, "How does everybody know this?" So I was like, "Everyone on the fucking planet knows this." So.
I was like, everything is quiet, and everyone like there's music playing on the speakers in like a bar area. We're all people just drinking beat, and no conversations, and then literally everyone, when it got to the bit when just they yelled out
Sweet Caroline,
they yelled out, and I was like, what? And I was
Mike,
I was like, I'm a flash mob, and then everyone just stopped, and I was like, why is everyone just sang one? And everyone was looking at me like, why didn't you sing? And I was like, what's happening?
Mike
right
genuinely was confused as to why it was happening, and he was like, I've not heard this song before, and I was like, that is not possible.
I must have heard it, but never recognised it. And they're like, oh, it's a sporting event. It's like, I hate sporting events.
It's just now it's funny because it keeps coming, obviously, because it's
been
everywhere.
memed, isn't it? It's a meme now.
Yeah, but like we were in Oxford and there was like a band from Holland playing, and we walked past, and then suddenly I heard in the distance as we were leaving. I was like, Mike, it's that song that you've never heard before. Anyway, so I started singing that, and then Mike was like, "Well, I thought it was a really famous song."
That was a revolver,
which obviously, that shows how much I watched it as a kid. If I know the words to that song,
to an intro credit song.
The fact that Megan remembers anything is incredible. It's incredible.
Song lyrics make their way in.
It's a miracle. It's a miracle.
Song lyrics, to be fair to them, do make their way. Oh my god, I can't speak their way in.
Yeah, certain songs Megan just every single word to it, and they're like, "Do you remember this movie you watched last week?" No, we've never seen that film before. It's like we did afterthoughts on it.
Who's Denny Villeneuve?
Do you know what? Done it. But you enjoyed this more than Fox and the Hound. You thought it was fun because you had a lot of nostalgia. What about you, Ria? Did you? Like with Lady and the Tramp, did you watch it a lot as a kid?
Great film, watched it a lot as a kid.
Is there an audiobook about it that's better than this?
Do you know what? I don't think she has an audiobook of it. It's good that she's got like 3 Lady and the Tramp books though, because weirdly, she liked reading the books, but didn't like the film the first time she saw it. She thought it was boring. She thought dogs are boring. And this is a child who loves animals and loves cats and dogs.
This is a kid that loves Fox and the Hound.
And, she was like, oh, I don't like it. She watched it again recently and enjoyed it. But this was like, I watched it like this, Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast were like my 3 Disney films, like constantly on repeat. My poor mum. I don't know how she feels now.
A book reading again, Dog Mermaid. That's what you wanted to be when you grew up.
Perfect. So I know this film like the back of my hand. Like I know every beat. Certainly when I was like watching it in my 20s, probably watched it like once in my 20s or something. I was like, oh, very problematic. Very
the
problematic.
Synopsis there, Ria. You know it so well. Why don't you tell us the synopsis?
Yeah, right. So
he does do it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
I've only
I'll do
did it
Lady and
because
the Tramp.
specifically
20 minutes
because-
later, let's see how you feel.
Well, it's just them as it's
Jim
just them
Deere and Darling adopts
Oh, for God's sake.
a puppy.
Are you reading
And
from Wikipedia?
Darling thinks it's a hat. She goes, the one that I picked with a ribbon. And he hands it to her and he goes, well, it does have a ribbon. And then she opens it up.
No
and
air
it's her
holes
little
for the
puppy.
It's his
Yeah,
dick.
no, it's so
It's his dick
concerning,
in a
isn't
box.
it?
You literally pick it up and you
And it,
see the bottom of it like bent because
Yeah,
there's the
you go,
weight of the
"Brrr."
dog.
And she never goes to the toilet. They don't take her out to the toilet. They're just, right, here you go, Hella, nice to meet you, on to bed. It's like, what? Puppies
Sorry,
take
we
much
interrupted your
longer.
synopsis.
Traumatised.
Can't believe
I
you
wasn't the one to do it,
interrupted that.
actually. It was these two.
Can't believe you
They did
interrupted
they
that.
do put newspaper down though.
Like the dog's like, what? Like,
Well,
explain to her what it's for.
You understand
Like,
this, right?
Yeah, just some newspaper for. He's like, oh, hold on, guys, I forgot this crucial thing for this brand new puppy we've got. Just some newspaper.
Maybe that's where we
Sure,
went wrong.
mate.
Did we go
Yeah,
wrong?
you
That's
think
what-
you should just
Our
be
dog's
like,
very well trained.
Willow is very well trained, but maybe
Maybe-
if we'd put newspaper down, there wouldn't have been any accident.
Maybe she'd have read the news and been able to vote.
I mean, in this universe, dogs can read.
This is
Good
true.
point.
This
So
is
maybe
true.
he was like,
Not only that, they understand the concept of the alphabet and what order things go in. They go in the zoo. He's like, oh, this is A. This is where apes are. We have to go down the road. What, to all the letters? And I'm like, what? How does an animal not only not speak the language, but kind of does, but also at one point goes, we can't talk to the apes. They're too close to humans. You're like, right, but you understand humans. So how do you, and you communicate with
Because they're
humans.
smart.
But you can't communicate with apes, but you can with an alligator because you think you're closer to an alligator than an ape, a dog. It doesn't make any sense.
but then they go to an Italian restaurant and go, they don't speak good English, these Italians. What
I think you'll
language?
find they don't speak a very good English, and you're like, fucking hell.
Were you offended by that, Megan? You're Italian. Were you offended by that?
I'm so used to the stereotype that I find.
That's what you said, wasn't it? You went,
My-
you literally, I said to Megan, I said,
Babbity-boobity.
I literally said, what do you think of these stereotypes? She went, babbity boo. With the finger and everything. And that was it. That was the only comment I got from her while watching it. What do you think? Babbity boo. All right, I guess, I don't know if that's a positive or a negative.
That's
We've
the
been swiftly
admittable.
on. Megan's cracked up because she remembers it. That's the only bit about the film she remembers.
It's all right, Megan. I'm a little bit Italian
I'm
as well,
so
I
used
can
to
be
it.
offended for all of us. I can be offended
like
for all of us.
when I teach the kids at work, the more animated I get, the more I use my hands, and so like
Your dad's like it as
and my
well.
dad's
yeah.
the same. It
Yeah.
is a very Italian thing. Like I use my hands, and like sometimes in the corner of my eye, I'll see kids being like, and I'm like, do you know what? Fuck off.
I do it to Megan because I know some of us now, so I know certain things
I
she'll
do this.
That.
I do this a lot.
Is that? But there's this as well. Right, listen to me. Sometimes I'll time it at the exact
You
same
know
time
what?
she
You know
does
what
it.
you do with that, Megan? You just say you're being racist now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're being racist. You're insulting my culture.
Call him
Yeah,
out.
but that's why I'm marrying her. I get the classic white man pass, which is like, I'm married to her.
Yeah, no, you're forcing me to lose my
insert
surname.
demographic here. I'm
joking.
I'm married to it. Insert demographic here. Therefore, I can say what I want about them.
I mean, you again, like Lady and the Tramp is Lady forcing Tramp to lose his culture, his street life, his street culture.
Forcing.
Yeah, potentially. Well, not forcing, but he makes a
No, because
decision.
Tramp's hurt. That's the way why Tramp is the way that he is, because
Yeah, of
he's like that toxic masculinity, right? He's only like that because he's had to survive. But the moment that he gets a home and a collar, like he suddenly belongs and he feels he can be a more fully rounded dog.
One line that hurt me, sorry, Dan, one line that hurt me was just when Jock says, no human is that cruel, when it's literally just them, like, giving a kid slightly more attention than the dog, and you're like, oh, God.
Well, they don't know any better.
I've been
They've lived
wait
a
until you
happy-
have a kid, guys.
Oh, no, I know. They'll definitely get more attention, but obviously, but it's that
No,
thing
no,
of-
I mean like your dog will like it's a thing. Like your
Yeah.
dog will like Willow will be really upset and not understand why she's suddenly not getting the same amount of attention, and they start having behavioural problems and stuff like that. So
Oh,
good luck.
baby.
Oh yeah,
baby
that's
girl.
definitely going to happen. She's a little madam, like her mum, so, happens. Babbity boo. Sorry,
Mike
Dan.
the sexist.
I'm the everythingist, unfortunately.
yeah.
So
I wouldn't.
I was going to say, I don't know if
I'm joking. I'm saying that in jest. I'm not any ist.
Just so you know, listeners, he is joking.
Probably an atheist.
Everyone, listen, he's
That's the
joking.
only ist.
I don't know. I don't know if maybe I was like, I'm not saying that Lady forced him into doing something he didn't want to do. He had, free reign. He could have gone off and, lived in the fields like he was talking about and stuff. But something about like the being proud of the collar and the restraint and stuff, kind of like, I don't know, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I was like, this is the way the world is, and this is the way you have to be, and you have to behave, and you have to wear this collar, and you have to have a license, because otherwise you'll be taken away, and it'll be a horrible, worse life for you. But again, Tramp's life isn't shown to be particularly bad, I don't know. It's just something I was a bit like, I don't know.
But I don't know if that's just because he's chasing for something that he already had in the past. Like, obviously, you don't know what his history is, but by the way that he speaks, it would suggest that he has had an owner. Because he's like very blasé about the fact that a baby's going to come and then you're going to get shoved to the side. So I don't know if he's kind of just chasing what he used to have before possibly getting abandoned.
He's gone back to what.
And are you saying that the collar is like a wedding ring? So do you believe getting married forces a man to settle down? Is that what you believe, Dan?
No, I didn't say that. I think it's more like the heteronormative kind of idea that, you must be in a house, you must have a collar, you must be with a family, you must have owners, you must do this. It was kind of more
and it's a woman that forces him to do that.
I didn't say for. I didn't. I said force earlier. I take it back. I didn't mean to say.
Strongly
We're both in trouble now.
Get rid of it. Bit onto the cover. A little bit hot here. God, heat waves come back.
It's still winding you up, but there is about conformity, and it's about lower classes having to conform to the middle class.
Yeah.
Well, I think rather than the relationship aspect, it's even if you're happy in lower class, apparently you're still aspirational towards middle or upper middle class, as they clearly are, because they have got money. Like,
I mean, even the collar's
it's
like,
more that, isn't it? Yeah, exactly.
I think that
smells expensive.
I perceived
that's the
it,
point I was trying to make poorly.
I think I perceived it as, for me, I saw it not as a wedding ring, but more almost like, almost like a tie, in a sense of like, I go to work and I've got a job and I'm, doing my bit for society. Hey there's Johnny going down the street doing his part for the USA, that kind of stuff. And it's the white collar family and, all of that kind of thing. That's the safety, is having a job and having a house. And you have a family, and you do what, good little person in society needs to do. And that's kind of how I perceived it, is almost like a tie. It shows you're official. It shows you've got this safety net, you're protected. Whereas if it's kind of indicating
side of the law,
class.
That type of
it's like, well, if you're homeless, then you basically, you get treated as a second class citizen, which does.
Well, yeah. And we see that throughout. That's absolutely right. Like, we see the dogs in the pound. So Peg has eyeliner, right? So obviously she's a bad girl because she's got eyeliner. All of the other male dogs there are cultural stereotypes who in America would be of lower class. Just to caveat, I don't believe that. No. But there is a very pull yourself up by your bootstraps American dream bullshit thing that goes on and it's reflected in the media.
Yeah. This is like 70 years old.
Yeah.
So, so they are cultural racial stereotypes of what people in America would be considered lower class citizens. And so, it's that throughout, isn't it? It's, the bloodhound guy, like he's an ex-bloodhound and he's retired and he gets to have a lovely retirement. It's all that sort of stuff. The dogs with collars and licenses get to roam around as much as they want. But if you don't have the visual identity of being from a certain class, you get rounded up and put in the pound. It's Trump America. Like, it's literally Trump America.
But why does, again, the Tramp becomes a part of that system,
American
that
dream.
Problem. Yeah.
This is the reverse Get Out. Is that what you're saying?
But this is kind of what I had an issue with. I think that was it. But again, I do think it's a better film altogether. I think it's animated beautifully. I think it's a gorgeous film.
I will say one animation that I don't like is when you see the baby for the first time. I don't know why, but the animation for the baby,
it looks like a photo.
It creeped me out. Yeah. Sorry to interject.
Like a photo's been inserted.
No, you're right. You are right. I think
Everything else I
they
liked though.
yeah. I like that we don't see. This is the thing as well. Like Jim Dear and Darling is clearly what Lady hears her owners call each other. So that it's like Jim Dear, or Darling, Darling. So she assumes it's their names. But then I started thinking, wait, is that their actual names? Is it like Jim Dear and Darling Dear? And then
It is. Because
okay.
I watch it with subtitles.
So do
because
we.
you know how I all love subtitles.
Yeah.
And when they're having the baby shower, the women call her darling.
Yeah. So I was like, it works better I think it works better if it's just the dogs.
Because when I was a kid, I always thought that's just what Lady hears their names as. So like our cats would hear me call Kevin Love or Fuckface, you know.
I was going to say, Willow thinks my name is Dick.
Now that is a Disney film I want to see.
You know, they would assume that's Kevin's name. So like I think, it absolutely works much better. And all the stuff from the dog's perspective works really well. Like, you know, when the signs that we're shown that she's pregnant and that she's having a baby are all from the dog's perspective when the baby's born and she's going up the stairs. Like all of that is it's such good visual storytelling. And it's so like impactful that even I, as a small kid, because like I watched this when I was really young, like knew what it all meant. I just think that's really clever.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like this more. So I enjoyed this one more, but I still didn't love it. I found, again, this for me had Bambi syndrome, which is just, it's an hour and 16 minutes long, which is really short. You know, credits were 5-10 minutes of that. But for me, this is like a 20-minute story. This feels like an episode of something, you know, like an anthology.
Two dogs fuck.
They sure do. It does not take long for Lady to get those puppies out.
It doesn't. But it's one of those.
She's a lady. Whoa. She's a lady.
I enjoyed this one more, but again, I just found there were parts of this, and I was like, oh, we must be near the end, and you're halfway through, and you're like, oh, everything moves so slow. It's the dialogue. It's like Bambi as well, because everyone talks so fucking slowly.
I don't think they talk that slowly in this
Not as bad. Bambi's the worst.
was painfully slow.
Yeah.
But in this, it's just like, when we're around here, we take our time when we talk. But every character,
but you're
like
doing
this.
the southern one at the moment, who they do naturally.
No, I know, but there's quite a lot of dialogue that comes from the Bloodhound and comes from Chief. But it's not just the southern ones. But there's not.
I happen to tell you about old reliable my grandparents.
We've got that note, which is one of the worst Disney film endings ever. Which is, it is fine, literally, until the last 40 seconds. And then he talks for almost more than he has the entire film about nothing. It's an old man rambling. It goes on for ages. And you're like, yeah,
it's cute.
It's like old Reliable used to say. Now, what did old Reliable use? And it goes on and on and on. And he goes, I can't quite remember. And it's been like 30 seconds between those two bits of dialogue. Yeah. And it's just him looking around slow and I like him playing with the pups. But I'm like, what? Why did he just say, oh, I can't forget, I've just forgotten?
Because that's
the joke. That's the joke, isn't it?
Because it's funny. It's atrocious.
I know. It's not funny.
I've read cracker jokes that are funnier than that. That's awful.
Why are you hating so much on this old dog?
I like the character. I just think
not only does Mike hate women, he hates old people as well. Put that on the list.
And southern people, even
and dogs and southern people.
Tell us a joke, Mike. Come on, then. You've got some better jokes.
Okay. What's the difference between a hippo and a zippo? One's a heavy mammal and one's a little lighter. That one on the Joke Awards, like several years ago.
Joke Awards?
Yeah. My Uncle Chris loves really cheesy, terrible pun jokes.
Before. Jokes are funny.
And so it was one of those.
Zing.
No, we were double act. That was part of the joke, actually.
That's funny.
Thank you, everyone.
But I can't tell. Evidently, I can't tell jokes. But the thing is,
I do. I can't get the timing.
I can get the timing. I just think they're all...
I'm not good at telling jokes.
I just don't think there's any jokes I've heard in the last probably 10 years of my life that are even slightly funny.
I don't create jokes. They just happen.
You are one.
That's
basically. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Dad.
That's good though. That was good though. I like that. That's good. But I think for me, like jokes come up in conversation where you go, you know, you don't, if you plan it and plot it and, you know, if you're a comedian on stage, then obviously you have to.
I was about to say, like, you just wiped out a host of podcasters there.
Yeah. Fuck off comedians. Get them cancelled. But But yeah, I feel like better comedy comes naturally when it's not planned as much. But there you go.
I would say with this, I think we should start to wrap up. But there's one very key thing that none of us have spoken about.
The cats used to creep me out when I was a kid.
It's not just the cats. It's the warning message at the start and what the cats are.
Yeah, no, obviously the cats are not okay, but I will say the cats used to scare the shit out of me when I was a kid. They really creeped me out when I was younger.
Yeah, very problematic.
They still kind of creep me out.
The song is not only it's offensive to me, and I'm not of that demographic, but also it's just one of the worst songs I've ever heard. So it's like, not that this to justify it, but if you're doing a racist song, you'd think, okay, are they doing it in this style because they've got a really good song written and they're just being insensitive? No. They've written an atrocious, racist, horrible song that goes on for ages, is not clever, isn't funny, doesn't add anything. It would make far more sense if the cats never said a word, and that would almost make them better. But yeah, I hate them in every way.
I'll go one further. I don't think they need to be in it. What do they add to the plot?
They make the babysitter distrust Lady and keep her out.
But Aunt Sarah already dislikes her, though.
You didn't need Siamese cats. They should have just been cats.
We don't have to live in the rift of dogs versus cats, you know. We can be both. We people, we can like both.
Willow
we don't have to villainize one.
Willow does like cats.
Well,
but we're talking about people.
We're not
talking about people, not a dog. I'm talking about human beings.
Yeah.
We can like all animals. We don't have to be divided like this, you know. And this film and the stereotypes are dividing us between.
You really are going to like cats and dogs, then, are you? That film does not rub you the way.
Of course, I've seen that film.
No.
But you know, I think she could just hate dogs. She doesn't have to have cats to prove that she hates dogs. She can just be mistrustful because she's clearly a little busybody anyway, isn't she?
Right. So you're saying she should have a lizard. Sarah. She should have a lizard, and the lizard should be the catalyst.
Also, who the fuck brings two?
Giles. Don't listen to that. You're the best lizard ever.
I love lizards.
Who the hell brings two cats to a house where there's already a dog established in the house?
And a fish. And a bird.
And a fish and a bird.
Yeah, which has never been in it before. Like, never seen it before.
No sound, no mention, not even the dog sat up going, oh, that's a weird
That's because their house is so massive that they've got a...
the lady still hasn't made it throughout the whole... In fact, that zoo we saw is part of the house. That's how big it is.
Back garden.
Yeah, that's how they've got so much money, because they're rich animal owners. Yes, so that's very problematic. Is there anything else people want to mention about Lady and the Tramp specifically?
I mean, I'd like to mention that apparently the Russian dog, or the Russian stereotype, also I think the two most offensive stereotypes for me, or three, is the cats, the Italian restaurant owners, and then also the Mexican Chihuahua.
I was going to say the Mexican Chihuahua.
And his name as well.
So
I was like,
what's his name?
His sister's name is like the most.
I have more issues.
Juanita.
Yeah, I have more issues with the sister's name because Pedro is a very common name.
It's not the name. I think it's the depiction of him. And
absolutely.
Naming his sister was like, and then lady can't fucking pronounce it later, which just reminds me about how awful that was. But apparently I think I can't remember the dog's name, but the Russian dog was supposed to be initially the tramp. That was supposed to be the love interest, that dog. Can you imagine?
Because he's like grey.
Massive and grey. He's got the long, he's like, I don't know what kind of dog he is.
Hound is, I know it's a Russian dog,
something like
that's
that.
Similar, like a long haired, or like a mountain dog. Because he was giant, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was huge.
Long-haired greyhound, maybe?
He was, and he's quoting like Russian literature, and I was like, fucking hell. But apparently that was the case. Another thing, I was like, when Jock and Trusty, I do like that Trusty and his grandfather, Old Reliable, basically have the same meaning. I quite enjoyed that. It's a very shit gag, but I was like,
that's a good one. Actually, I didn't pick up on that.
Which one?
Yeah,
Trusty and Old Reliable.
Yeah.
That's good. That's nice.
Yeah, I quite like. Again, little detail I quite enjoyed.
Fun fact: the Russian dog is called a borzoi.
Borzoi, there we go.
Or a Russian hunting sighthound.
Or Russian wolfhound.
Good. We should have Megan should be on her phone all the podcasts, and every time we have a question,
things up for
like
us.
A producer.
Yeah, like a researcher, just like.
So you don't want my
it's this.
facts about animal species, the genders, what they're called and things, but you want Megan's animal facts. I see how it is.
I was
This is it.
joking.
This is
I was
happening.
joking. But
This is- guys.
anyway, my point is when Jock and Trusty go over and like, well, one of us is gonna have to marry her. What are you on about? It's like,
Why'd you make it weird?
well, one of it. I mean, we're both old, and she's gonna pick one of us. Is she? Is she? But how does that work? I know that you seem to have free reign around this neighborhood, but if you get married, she's still going to live with her owners, and you're still going to live with your owners. How does that work? You just go, oh, by the way, I've married her. I've married her, Mr. Man, Mr. Darling. I've married her, Miss Jim Dear. Can she come and stay over at mine? I just thought, what a weird, bizarre thing.
And she's like a year old, which I know in dog years is slightly older, but she's like,
Wait, sorry.
or is she 6 months?
Their names, I know that we've talked about this already, but his name is Jim Dear. Dear is the surname.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
apparently.
she calls him by
Darling
his first
Dear?
and second name all the time.
Well, it's like I make you do, it's Sir, or, Mr. Burton, or... I hate that. She calls me...
I call him Mr. Michael sometimes and he absolutely hates it.
I hate being called
Michael.
Sir with all my... Even in an official place, I hate being
Anyway,
called Sir.
I only just caught that on. That's weird that she calls him by his first and second name all the time.
And people call her Darling. Yeah.
We call you by your
It's
first and second name, Spider Dan, so it's not,
Spider
it's not
Dan,
that
yeah.
weird. Is it?
There are weirder things out there. But,
Sorry, I interjected.
yeah, but no, I just thought it was a bit odd. I was like, how does that even work? Dog marriage in this?
Do you not know how dog marriages work? Come on.
But they can speak and read. They can read and read language and understand English.
I must just be so naive because I watched that interaction. I didn't even. Did they actually say one of us has to marry her?
Basically, yeah, effectively.
But did they
like,
use
we have
those
to-
words?
I don't think they use those words.
They said about moving in, but I thought
Yeah,
they were
So
being
yeah,
nice.
so I heard the moving in. So I'm either ignorant or naive, or maybe a combination of the two. But when they were like that, I was like, oh, that's nice. They're like trying to.
That's what I thought. I
I was like, they're just trying to be
I
nice.
thought Trusty was doing
Megan-
that.
Megan-
old men trying to get a young bride because she's
Megan, she's
abused
chained
and
up as well.
unhappy.
She's chained up. So how is she going to get out? How's she going to move in with these dogs when she's
They're
chained
going to
up?
release her.
I thought they were saying like, "Oh, clearly you're being abused. You can come live with us."
Yeah, that's what I.
Because
yeah.
our owners are lovely. They'd happily greet you. I thought,
No, it was definitely a tinge of because they're quite nervous about it. If it was just like, oh, you're having a bad time here, why don't you come live with us? But the way they go about it, and Trusty's like very like do, like and doing all that and kind
I
of.
thought
like,
it was like because he was like, I don't want you feeling like you have to, but
Yeah.
if you want to,
definitely-
if you need to
But
get
you
away
know,
from
put
your
you in a
abusers.
vulnerable position, and I'm an older
this is
man.
the 50s,
so-
guys. This is the 50s.
I think you are both right, but I'm with Megan. I was naive because I was also like, well, she could eat. Like, he's quite a big dog and stuff, but I was like, clearly they're just nice paternal.
Yeah, they're
I
just
almost
being
viewed them as a gay
fatherly
couple.
figures.
I know that wouldn't be the case in 1955, but I was like, they're just two old, lovers.
Who's the top and who's
Best
the
friends,
bottom?
just roommates,
Just like Bert and Annie.
Oh,
Just
Megan,
great.
Megan's like in Italy, there was a couple of people who lived. Two men who lived together, and everyone just thought they were friends, didn't they?
No, my dad thought they were. My dad thought they were friends. My mum knew that they were very much
mates.
a couple.
Yeah.
Good news.
Yeah.
naivety.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That I think that was the only other thing I wanted to mention. Oh, I like the beaver. I
Oh, the beaver drove me mad.
I enjoyed that.
Every single thing that he has
and
to say. Oh.
Yeah, and I love the rat scene was great.
The rats, yeah. I thought that
Yeah.
was
nice
very
and
cool.
gloomy. And I wanted to say as well that the transitions were so expertly
Yeah.
done.
I've got that written down. Transitions are
Yeah.
cool, especially the calendar and
Yeah.
the way that the
That was
framing
good, yeah.
works. Mm.
I like the one where he's like, oh, you were left alone with in your condition with that dog, and it's like that shot from Jaws, but almost even better in a way. Just great, absolutely like spot on animation.
And the fading in and out. With the
the
imagining
fading in
bits,
and out,
really
yeah.
good.
Yeah, all of that was just phenomenal.
The lighting in the rat scene's amazing. As somebody who had to sit through the lighting in House of the Dragon season 1, like the fact that they could do this back in the 50s with animation and you could still tell exactly everything that's going on. And I like that what they do with Lady's teeth as well when the rat's there, because it's so, like you said, it's really dark and gloomy and you can see her teeth so well. And that's like the only sort of like brightness in all the scenes where that's happening. So good.
Do you have anything to add? I was going to add something, but...
I don't think so. I liked that scene as well. I thought it was good. And also, I think it is quite realistic. It's very reminiscent of what a dog would actually... Like, just the facial features is what a dog would actually be like, because Willow looks the same when she gets angry about something. Like, the way that, like, the nose, like, burrows at the top.
They studied... Yeah, they studied the dogs, the type of dogs they were all animating, I think, all the animators. So they got kind of a sense of them and how they moved and reacted to things. So, yeah, quality stuff.
I want to say the last thing I'll mention about this, and then we'll do a little roundup, and then we'll finish off. But the last thing I was going to say about Lady and the Tramp is... You know, I've not been a fan of the music in either of these films.
You hated the dog singing.
The dog singing is probably some of the worst stuff I've ever heard
was like, when is this
in my
gonna
life.
end?
It was genuinely, it was killing me. I was like, this is fucking terrible. I was like, it's out of... They're not even harmonising properly. There's points where they occasionally do, but the majority of the time they weren't really harmonising. They were all out of tune, because I couldn't tell if it was actually dogs or if it was people imitating dogs. It was all like an a cappella dog howling thing. But the music, air quotes, it was making was awful. And it just sounded so... And it wasn't even like a good dissonance. It was like flat. It was killing me.
All right, Mr. Music over here.
I thought Peg's song was crap, but I didn't, like, hate it. But the dog song was... and it went on for ages.
I thought it was beautiful.
I do have a soft spot for Bellanotte. Probably my Italian heritage as well.
Yeah, well... when I think about people say Bellanotte, I think of the song Bella Ciao.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But with these two films, to sort of wrap up, I would say for me, it's just so weird that how Fox and the Hound is made, 26 years later. The animation, apart from the sort of animated moving bit that I mentioned, apart from that, it all looks worse. It feels like it hasn't progressed very much, in the sense of like progressiveness and socially. And so it just feels, for me, if I had to guess, I had no concept of timing, I would have said these two films came out within like 5 years of each other.
Yeah.
And I would have said, from the dialogue and the way characters speak, I would have probably put Lady and the Tramp as an older film than Fox and the Hound, but not by a lot. So it's so weird that it feels like Fox and the Hound is like super old when it's not, and Lady and the Tramp feels like, it was made in the 50s. It feels like it was maybe a bit newer than that.
I am surprised that it was made in the 50s.
It
like,
looks
obviously,
so good.
aside from all of the like racist stuff and the things that aren't okay in it, like the way that it's made, I think it surprised me that it was made in the 50s.
Yeah, the difference between these two films is very, very peculiar in that regard.
I will say that obviously it's not okay that all of that horrible stuff is in there, but I am glad that they do have the warning message at the front rather than just eliminating everything, because
Agreed.
there literally wouldn't be a film if they did that. Like you wouldn't have that much content. But also, like, as it says, you can learn from the mistakes and you can see things that you shouldn't be doing. But like, otherwise it's just kind of like censorship at the same time, isn't it? If they try and get rid of everything. But I'm glad that they just have the warning and they're like, this is not okay. But here is the film,
because
there are good elements to it.
Yeah. There's like it's not a bad film. It is. I'd say it's more offensive than Fox and the Hound. I do think on the whole it's a better film. Yeah. But again, like no matter like this is over 50 years old. 70 years old or something. My maths is not good. But like everyone has like this has been around for so long. People have fond memories of it, and I think. And again, I think erasing history is dangerous, controlling and, saying this didn't happen or we don't like this side of our history and just kind of erasing it is dangerous because we can't learn from those mistakes. I actually prefer to have a warning and go and to know what I'm going in for.
Agreed.
As opposed to I don't like censorship anyway. Me and Tonya are going to be talking about banned films next year on my podcast, which will be a very interesting discussion. But I'm not a fan of censorship. I don't like when films are shown before the watershed and they cut stuff out. It drives me nuts.
Or like when you're on a plane and they get rid of scenes on a plane.
Absolutely. And I can understand. I get it. I get why it's done, but I don't like it. But I would much prefer to have a warning and go, there is some insensitive stuff in here. We are not erasing our history. We are acknowledging it and the mistakes of the past, and we are moving on. If you are offended, we understand, but for that reason, we have kept this in. And that's basically what the proviso says. And that's how I feel about those kind of things. Because, I don't like that erasure of things. I think it is potentially dangerous.
I agree. And I'll say one more point is with Fox and the Hound, it's the last Disney film to have the credits at the start. after that point, all Disney films. I think Sword and Stone was the one after this, I think. But I can't remember what it was. But
I think you might be Black Cauldron, I think, is that.
I always get those two confused. Yeah. So, and we'll tackle that at some point. Oh, voice went funny then. Back to my teenage years. Anyway, before puberty. So, Fox and the Hound, last film. And I'm glad it's the last film because I'm sick of seeing those. I mean, I know Tarantino does it a lot, but I'm just like, I just don't want credits that start that are really long. I know I should want it because you want all these people
we'll most likely go back
recognised.
to another film that has credits at the beginning.
No, I know. And this is like,
we
guys, we're
can't
done.
go before
We're not
1981.
we're not going chronologically through these Disney films.
That'd be cool though. But it's one of those things where I know I should like it more because I really feel like there's so many creators and people involved in films, especially when you get Marvel films and things, which is one only little caveat of actually post-credit scenes aren't too bad because there are people, animation departments and stuff. At least these people's names get seen because none of us watch credits really, unless there's someone we know or if it's really cool and flashy.
I think if you're going to do opening credits, do something interesting with it. Make it entertaining.
Not really slow-moving background paintings of things with going,
How about you?
over it, like every Disney film from this era.
Or
You should look into. Sorry, Megan.
No, you go.
No, you go.
Okay. I was going to say, or you could do a story like in Bedknobs and Broomsticks where it literally tells the entire film before the film starts.
On the tapestry.
That's what a lot of TV shows used to do, didn't they? They'd have all the kind of thick clips at the start. Have you seen West Side Story, Mike, the original?
No, we saw the remake.
The new one.
I'm not a fan.
Because it has an interval in it.
Funny enough,
they keep the original interval in it.
Hateful Eight has that. Well, not the original because Tarantino put it in there because this film's too long. We need an interval.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's quite cool. So is there anything else?
What was Rhea going to say?
Oh, sugar. Yeah.
I was just going to say you should look into why there are credits at the beginning of the film and why they were then changed. You have the shorter credits at the end of a film and then you have the full credits afterwards. You should look into it. It's really interesting.
Is it not just a really easy answer you can tell me now?
I mean, it's obviously about so people who are working on the film ensuring that their names are accredited to the film. But I can't explain the history of why they changed it and why their names always have to appear twice because I can't remember. I'm not going to Google it right now.
No,
but it's really interesting. Like I won't be able to do it justice. Like it's more interesting than you would imagine. So it's worth just like giving it a quick Google and just sort of like if you're interested in sort of like that film production behind the scenes side of stuff, it's really interesting about why they're at the beginning and then repeated at the end. And when films wanted to phase them out, how they have to do, as you will notice if you ever sit and watch the credits, a short credits and then a longer credits.
I'll definitely get into that because I watched a YouTube video about the history of theatre of the cinemas and how it turned into streaming and how it's gone a full circle where it used to be the cinema, the people who owned the cinemas were the film studios who were also the distributors and it became this monopoly. And so they basically changed legislation to make it so you can't all be the same thing. And so that for years changed. And now that streaming's come back, it's basically gone, no, it's exactly the same. So it's quite an interesting thing.
Well, they're making like cable again, aren't they? They're effectively
Disney Plus are going to have channels again. So they're looping it all round. But we'll wrap up here. I assume is there anything else anyone want to mention about these two films before we get into plugs? Amazing stuff. Megan.
Hello.
Thank you so much for choosing these films.
Sorry.
You've done a great job.
Thanks.
What have you been up to? You know, you're really rabid posting on social media. You're not a podcaster.
I did start posting on social media a bit more. It's just been really busy recently, so it's taken a bit of a back burner.
No, I was joking.
The Grits Gets Fit page is active and there are things.
Yep. I'm tagging you and stuff. I'm tagging you in podcasts and pornographic material.
Yeah.
And we were in obviously District 9, the pod with Spider Dan, which is great fun. That was my pick, and also the episode.
One of my favourites.
It was so good. It was so much fun. Fucking put on. It was Meg 2 that just dropped this week as well. So I mean, this will come out. I can't remember. I won't mention when this comes out because admin. But yeah, Meg 2, The Trench, on Back to the Filmography with good old Jack as he's coming to the end of his journey. But we can't say what happens yet. Some of us know, but we can't say to let him reveal. But yeah, I think that's the main things that you and I have been doing. Oh, I've also been on mandatory music and CD.
You asked me what I've been doing, and then you just started talking.
You literally said, Agrids gets
What have
fit,
you been doing? What have I been doing?
What else do you want to add then?
I've been very busy.
Doing?
Life.
There we go. Yes, so
Chris gets fit.
boom. And Patreon, but also District 9 on Spider Downs Pod, and also Meg 2 Trench on Back to Filmography, and also Mandatory Music and CD, myself, and Tonya Todd. She's the guest of the day, because we all keep mentioning her. We spoke about Rage Against the Machine with Dave, the self-titled first album. I think there's other stuff I'm up to, but Acolyte discussion pods as well, and all my other usual content. Rhea, what are you up to? How's the Femme Collective?
Femme Collective hasn't published an episode in a little while, so go back and listen to some of the old ones due
Good
to
time to catch up.
life. Yeah, exactly. Time to catch up with some of our excellent episodes. I'll be on Alien Month with Dan.
Yes.
Talking. I've forgotten the name of both films.
So, Body Snatchers.
Puppet Masters and Body Snatchers.
Yeah, Body Snatchers is one of Rhea's favourite versions of that story as well.
I've got my own name at the weekend, by the way. So it's nothing to do with you. Don't worry.
No.
So don't worry. My brain's broken. But so come and check us out at femon.show, or come and see me on Instagram. I've not posted anything in a while, apart from vaguely political memes to my stories. So come and see them at Rhea Carrigan.
Amazing stuff. And Dan.
So we're straight into Alien Month, as you both mentioned. So we've got Mike and Megan that's already come out. You've got District 9 and talk about fucking prawns. And then next week we've got Starman with Super Dummy Paul and Angry Andy, and we talk about some weird sex stuff. So nothing different from my podcast. And again, in Body Snatchers we talk about weird sex stuff as well. And then we're going to end it with DC Comics Cosmic Odyssey by Jim Starlin, the creator of Thanos and the killer of Robin in Batman, and also Mike Mignola, the creator of Hellboy, does the art for that book. Really, really good book. I'll spoil it now. I like it a lot. Go read it. Go check it out. It's very if you like the kind of Zack Snyder stuff and the kind of New Gods and all that stuff. Yeah, I know you don't, Megan. It's all right. Don't worry about it. I'm not particularly a massive fan of that version either. But if you like those kind of Kirby elements, then yeah, go check it out. But yes, I've got other stuff going on at some point. Catch up with everything. I had a bit of a break from social media as well. I wasn't posting quite as much, so I'm going to try and get back into that a bit more and start doing more of that. But yes, spiderdanandsecretballs.com. All of these wonderful people on this podcast, go and check it out and check their stuff out as well, especially Mike and Megan's Patreon, which I've been enjoying them going through 90s cartoons, and it's reawakened a lot of memories I had about video games.
I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, that was a banger. That was an absolute banger. I really enjoyed you. Talking about Reptile's Revenge, I was like, shit, I played that. Fuck.
It was a great topic by Math. I think we're going to have to revisit
really
it, because afterwards Megan was like, we didn't talk about Arthur.
Yeah, we didn't talk about
or anything.
Love that.
So
Love
I think
it.
we're going to do revisited because we had a lot of fun
Arnold.
there.
Hey Arnold.
I didn't really watch Hey Arnold, but yeah.
There's so many of them.
Rocko's Modern Life.
We could go on forever. But yeah, so thanks for looping it back to us, Dan, because Meg and I have our own show, Monthly M&M, comes out once a month. All normally listeners get it on the main feed, and then all Patreon supporters get it 1 month early, and also patrons get priority in choosing the topics. So we've got quite a few fun topics that have been submitted, but please send in more. Tell us what you thought. And also a plug for Dan, me and Dan, Acolyte. The finale, which will be coming out on the, I think, 17th of July is when the finale comes out in the UK. So our discussion is the day, either that day or the day after, I can't remember exactly. Yeah. But Dan and Andy will be joining me on the finale for the Acolyte discussion show. So the only thing to mention here now, before we finish the recording, is what we're doing next time. There's no wheel to spin, because it's been decided, because you guys all had your turn. I'm last. So my thing, the one thing I'm choosing, I have to give my hats off to Jack of Back to Filmography and Season's Greetings, is he inspired me, because one of the things he submitted when we spoke to all of you lovely listeners late last year to get some submissions and stuff, he mentioned the Tron movies. So I was like, you know what? I really like the original Tron. It's dated as hell. The special effects do not age well.
Is it a cartoon, or is it?
No,
I've not seen that.
There was a cartoon. There was a cartoon. I think it's called Uprising, I think.
Oh yeah.
Oh, interesting. You might have seen that, but
with Rhea's fancy man Elijah Wood.
Yeah,
He's the fancy
bit
one.
Elijah Wood.
Elijah Wood's amazing. His cameo.
I mean, if you
is
don't
great.
fancy Elijah Wood, what is wrong with you?
He is a bit weird looking.
Then there's
He's
a
like
lot
pug.
wrong with me.
He's like a pug, isn't he? He's like ugly cute.
More on that on our Body Snatchers podcast.
Yeah.
on all the
It's
weird
not just
sex
about
stuff.
looks, Megan. It's not
She was-
just about looks.
What about Faculty? He's good in that. But
Well, that is what we're referencing in the
Maybe
podcast.
listen to the
When it
podcast
comes out,
when it
I mean,
comes
you
out.
could. Mike and Megan could listen right now if they wanted to, because
and
they
I
are
haven't.
my
I'm not
patrons.
spoiling it. That was just because I've got the film, and I think that's a
Yeah,
really
you-
underrated Elijah Wood movie, and no one has
Well.
really heard of it. There we
Well.
go. Well,
Well.
so we're doing Tron. So it's going to be Tron, the original, and then Tron Legacy. And I've got Tron Legacy on DVD. I've never watched it.
Why do you have so many DVDs that you haven't watched? But anyway.
Because sometimes people give them away, and I go through them and go, I haven't seen these films, so I'll take
You've
them.
literally named like 4 DVDs that you haven't watched in this. Yeah,
I can look at them.
Oh, that was a big eye roll, Megan. That was a big eye roll. Oh,
Those
felt it.
two. DVD owners can't have seen everything. Look, I've got them all sticking out.
Hundreds of miles away, and I felt it.
Come on.
Tron and Tron Legacy. That's what we're doing next. So watch that, and it will be a bit later in the year, but we'll do that fun stuff that Megan's never seen. But thank you for listening, friends. Subscribe wherever you are listening. Follow all our respective podcasts and social media stuff. Thank you as always, and we'll speak to you very soon. Cheers, Squeak.